Bees are critical for food, nature, and biodiversity. But climate change, fake honey, and lower nectar availability are putting bees and beekeepers in danger. BeeSustain is an innovative solution that brings together artificial intelligence, IoT technology, and art to help beekeepers make smarter decisions, protect biodiversity, and build trust with consumers.
The artistic idea of the project is based on the creation of an art book consisting of 3 parts. The first part presents the database of honey plants on the territory of Serbia and its unique herbarium that also provide information on the amount of pollen and nectar of each plant. The second part refers to the location from which BeeSustain collects information and about visualization of the data, and the third part presents the possibility of application in the future on wider fields in Europe.
It allows citizens to give their contribution by providing local data. It has potential to fight fake honey by showing real data, and it can help governments reward real environmental impact.
We were artists in both the first and second MUSAE residencies. And in the first one, we created a scenario where we were imagining what if there was a kind of radical legislation passed by the European Commission in the year 2028, where the premise was maximizing biodiversity. But during that residency, the European Commission actually decided to renew the use of the herbicide glyphosate for 10 more years. It's literally a biocide specifically designed to kill life and reduce biodiversity. So for the second residency, we partnered with the SME Nice Trails to imagine and prototype how we could measure biodiversity from the bottom up. Together we created BITS. BITS stands for Biodiversity in Transition Zones. It's a digital tool that helps you identify and learn about the organisms that are around you.
This project, we started with the idea that a healthy food system is a biodiverse food system. Emerging technologies could help us measure and understand landscapes, but throughout the process we realized that what was needed was to reskill humans to spend time in rural landscapes or agricultural landscapes, being attentive to and paying attention to their non-human neighbors.
We worked with different chefs to explore the recipes that could come out of some of the ingredients and species that we found using the tool. We made different field guides that brought visitors to these different agricultural landscapes or transition zones to explore the species there. And we created various kinds of digital visualizations that showed all of the species together and some of the relationships found between these different species.
We started this project by asking, how can we increase biodiversity of urban habitats, and how might new research into all organisms as holobionts, microbial beings, be integrated into our future living spaces?
During our Starts MUSAE Food as Medicine residencies, we worked towards this vision, and together with Blast Studio, we created Remedy Garden, which is a sculptural modular vertical garden that's designed to host both prebiotic and pollinator-friendly plants.
We're particularly interested in what a piece of living architecture such as this might bring to healthcare spaces, opening up imaginations of how new research into holobiont health and traditional ecological knowledge could shape our cities, our systems, and ultimately personal and planetary health.
Each brick is both sculptural and purposeful. Their organic form was carefully developed to support plant growth with a ridge and diamond pattern that guides water flow and creates a textured bioreceptive surface for mosses and microorganisms to inhabit.
To manufacture the bricks, we needed a large-scale extruder capable of processing significant quantities of material efficiently and at scale. So we built our own custom clay extruder, designed to handle up to 6 tons of dense, hard clay per month.
And this ecosystemic approach resonates with how we as artists are interested in learning from diverse multi-scalar and multi-species perspectives.
Growing Future is a part of the European MUSAE project, promoting the collaboration between art and technology. The project explores a design approach where mycelium, robots and humans co-create biodegradable, adaptable structure thanks to the collaboration between living organisms, living materials and the autonomous system.
There are millions of species of fungi and they are all different, so we have to pay attention to the difference they have and the applications we can reach.
Working with living organisms like mycelium entails several challenges. First, growth conditions will be very precise, like humidity, temperature, all the nutrients that directly affects the development.
As we explained, Growing Futures is collaboration between designer, mycelium and robot. Designer is a part that we can actually control, the robot as well for now, who knows what future holds. But mycelium is different, it's unpredictable.
This is not only a new production method, it's a new design paradigm. One where designer becomes a facilitator of living processes rather than the sole author of form. One that respects the intelligence of natural systems and integrates them into the creation of artifacts.
Sprout, a spatial planting recommendation and optimization utility toolkit. Sprout generates planting designs for regenerative farming. And regenerative farming principles are complicated because they work with nature and nature is complicated. The outcome is a planting design that is being created as a simulation, like this game of life, to find the best solutions for our food systems that work with nature.
As an engineer working in a company that builds products, having an artistic view, artistic perspective to building a prototype is very different. And I think it was very interesting to kind of like see how each decision we take during the design process and the development, we embed a little bit of our vision of the future and really try to imagine how those small things will have a systemic impact on how this will be used by the users for years to come.
The main question we asked ourselves was if we can imagine systems that aid regeneration. Could you even imagine our landscapes change from the grid of monoculture we all know to lush and fluid designs of polyculture?
Soil AI, so the prototype Microphi AI and I was working on during the MUSAE project, is an automated microscope for assessing the biodiversity of soil microorganisms. It combines AI or computer vision and robotics to identify indicators for soil health. This outcome resulted from an exciting and super intensive collaboration process in which my artistic practice, which is heavily focusing on automated decision-making and computer perception, intersected with the extensive experience of Microphi AI in developing automated microscopes.
We are an engineering company and we have been working in developing automated devices for microscopy over the last 5 years. And for us, it was very interesting and very different and challenging to work together with an artist to develop a new prototype of a device. So I would say that for us was disrupting, very innovative, and it helped us to think very different to the way that we did before. It helped us to better understand user needs and how to develop devices for the future, to think about future challenges.
So by combining custom-made hard and software, the prototype provides actionable insights into soil ecosystems and thus empowers farmers and soil experts to evaluate the effectiveness of their soil strategies and regenerative practices. So therefore, the project is more than just a tool. It encourages critical thinking about the ethics of technology and nature. It challenges anthropocentric assumptions and advocates for a more symbiotic relationship with our soils.
SOIL project. SOIL is an acronym for Sensing Outer Identities Landscape. It's a sonic instrument that translates soil's hidden data into vibrotactile and sonic stimuli on the human body. Through this wearable technology, the project itself indeed establishes a connection between our body, the human body, and the starting point of the food production and our nutrition and survival, which is indeed inside the soil, a hidden world beneath our feet. SOIL project indeed allows to be a listener and a composer within the rhizosphere. What actually it does is to be an instrument that we are able to wear and to sense and to attune to the soil rhythm and to the soil health. What happens indeed is that the soil data are monitored via an IoT on land, on field, and then these data are sonified on the human body through a wearable technology.
Our experience with the MUSAE project has been incredible. It gave us the opportunity to fully experiment and challenge the limit of development. At UP2Earth we believe in the power of IoT technology for soil monitoring, and I believe that in a certain future learning to better understand and listen to the soil can help us to reconnect with a more human, soil-centered dimension.
So my name is Robin Johnson. I'm a choreographer and director, and I'm specializing in using different kinds of advanced technologies in my artistic processes and performances.
We found a strong need of companionship, verbal interaction, being seen.
Here's where our robot can help, having different features like reminders, so the robot can remind the user of when to eat or take supplements or even medicine, or just to have that extra glass of water or eat the fruit. And also being a discussion partner of what to eat for lunch, knowing your food profile, knowing your allergies, and knowing if you like to try new foods or if you like your old favorites. And also being that conversation partner during the meals to make it less lonesome to eat by yourself.
But there's also considerations among the elderly, a distrust to technology, distrust to data collection, fear of data intrusion, of scams is a very big worry among the elderly.
This project has been very well fitting for us here at Dyna, because we have experience working with social robotics, targeting different user groups. We worked a lot targeting kids, but this has really broadened our perspective of how social robots can be used. We see a big need within elderly care. We're trying to use a very cheap platform to make it affordable for well, everyone. But still having a platform that has a good mic, has a good speaker, and that has as much as possible in the need of already talking to a robot.
But we also really work on the really sort of subtle specifics of the body and sort of how it moves, body postures, all of these things. I think this is really fundamental, and I think it's often overseen in robotics. And it might seem like a detail, but I think it matters so much because that is how we humans work.
My name is Lou. I'm the founder of Twisted Kombucha. I'm a food scientist and nutritionist with a passion for gut health and fermentation science.
We're Eleonora Solani and Malou van der Veld,
and we're artists interested in the intersection between science, art and technology. In the first MUSAE residency, we were asked to imagine and explore a future food scenario, and I got interested in the concept of authenticity and how much in the current system it is linked to geographical origin. But in the context we're living now, with climate change, shifting borders, and more food being produced outside the land, what does it mean for food to be authentic when the geographical origin is not fixed? So what is food without its origin? And kombucha gave us a powerful lens to approach this, and we use fermentation as a way to approach these questions.
Kombucha is a fermented tea, sweetened with sugar, and a SCOBY. A SCOBY is the symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. In fact, the SCOBY is the essence of the kombucha. It's the heart of the kombucha. Without SCOBY, kombucha doesn't exist.
We started looking into ways how to visualize this connection and how to share this knowledge with small-scale brewers, especially the ones that resist their industry's pressure to standardize and pasteurize. Because kombucha is not widely studied, we had to create our own data set. We managed to select 100 kombuchas from the UK and the Netherlands, both industrial and small-scale brewers. So we created our own sensors with off-the-shelf components to track microbial activity through biomarkers. We also put together a group of tasters to analyze the flavor of all the 100 kombuchas.
I believe that this type of collaboration can help us to tackle the challenges that we're facing and be able to produce a more nutritious, safe and honest, functional fermented beverage to bring into the food chain.
Hello, my name is Anna Rosinka, and together with my partner Maciej Chmara, we have been working for over 10 years on culinary spaces, food culture and their social dimensions. Since 2021, when Maciej began a collaboration with Charles Spence from the Institute of Experimental Psychology at the University of Oxford, our focus has shifted toward exploring the role of bread in society. While bread may appear simple, it's incredibly complex, anthropologically, microbially, and in terms of its potential as a multisensory experience. Food culture in this context is built on three interconnected pillars: mental, planetary, and physical well-being. Our ongoing collaboration with Charles Spence challenged us to consider how technology could be meaningfully integrated into sensory experiences to support mental well-being.
My name is Danko Radulovic, and I'm an industrial designer at Embring Train Company. We use the DFA process to reimagine cooking as an emotionally aware experience. Our prototype merges EEG, smart textiles, and sensory feedback in a human-centered, sustainable way. It helped us design with an empathy and imagine more meaningful interactions with technology.
Our ambition is not to create another gadget, but a therapeutic learning tool. It is intended for temporary use during a phase of healing or relearning. We are using new technologies not for their novelty, but as a means to counterbalance the disconnection and sensory imbalance caused by our increasingly digitized lives.
How much do we know about the food we eat? And where does this knowledge come from? Do our bodies have ancient memories and neural responses to food that evade our cognition, but provide important insights into whether this food is actually beneficial for us? Is what is beneficial for us also beneficial for ecology as a whole? Are these two symbiotic rather than conflicting? Nourish says yes.
My name is Sania Shikopadia. I'm a natural scientist, a researcher, and a futures artist on the MUSAE project. And I use data, science, and collective memory to reimagine emotion. I create digital diaries and digital memories of people, of organisms, of ecological structures, and of the world around us. Nourish is an AI-integrated, wearable system designed to collect EEG data at the moment of food intake.
Some people at Barcelona, so the founders of Starlab Barcelona, Julio Ruffini and Ana Maikes, basically wanted to open a subsidiary of Starlab Brussels in Barcelona. And they did so, and we started here. Starlab specializes mostly now in neurotechnology and applied neuroscience. So basically we are trying to bring scientific results in neuroscience into neurotechnology services and products that can be used by our clients.
We think about the artistic perspective as something that should not be included only in the final outcome, but should be in each of the steps of this project. So what do I mean with that? Here in Starlab, we have kind of a mathematical way of seeing things. So we see things as for models, formulas, markers, and this kind of stuff. But in the real world, there is a lot of artistic perspective. And having someone that not only understands our language, but also kind of inputs new knowledge in this artistic vision, allow us to drive through different paths that we have never considered. And that, I think, benefit the final end of the project, and that allows to arrive where we are now. So with this kind of newish final outcome. And what this is we have kind of a real-time prototype that decodes the neural signals, so the brain information of people, extracts the emotions, and translates these emotions into 3D representations, which is kind of really cool. So I would say about the MUSAE that this is kind of a transformative project. So what do I mean with that? This is kind of related with the previous question, but the mix of these two different worlds, so kind of the mathematical, scientific way of thinking and more the artistic vision, allowed, I think, all the different groups to explore a set of ideas that was not in their initial scope, and that was amazing.